Woo, that hoodie got hot, so I changed it to a shirt. So, welcome. It is Snake Cinema Reviews. Today is Monday. I am your host, Prince Elias, and today I'm reviewing. I am back on Disney Plus. I was on Netflix and Shudder for a good little minute, watching horror movies and stuff, but I am back on Disney Plus because of Hamilton and, of course, Beyonce's Black is King. And now they have a freshly new documentary called Howard, and it's based off the songwriter, producer, artist Howard Ashman, and it talks about his career with the Disney company even before then, which I will get into in the review, because he's done a lot of stuff even before he joined the Disney family and Disney legacy. But Howard Ashman, he is a writer, producer. He's done a lot of things in his career, but he is known as the pivotal, the living legend writer for all of our favorite Disney films from the Disney Renaissance era. When you think of songwriters, you think of the Sherman brothers, who worked alongside Mr. Walt Disney himself back in the day with like Mary Poppins and Pinocchio and Cinderella and stuff like that. Those were Disney living legends when it comes to songwriting for these films, for these movies. And then you think of Alan Menken and Howard Ashman for the Disney Renaissance. They pretty much wrote all your favorite songs. They wrote the music from all your favorite movies in the Disney Renaissance, minus Lion King, which Elton John did that. But they did Little Mermaid, they did Aladdin, they did Beauty and the Beast. And surprisingly, what I found out in this documentary is that they worked on all three of those at the same time. Within, you know, at the same time, of course, in the span of a couple of years. But as far as writing the music for them, the storyboard and all the other stuff, the vocals, they did that all like back to back to back to back. There was no breaks in between. But it basically tells the story of his life, his legacy, from his childhood to his early days working in theater. I didn't know this until I watched the film, but he did Little Shop of Horrors. Like, he wrote and directed the play Little Shop of Horrors, and then it got adapted into the film. I saw the film before I saw the play because of, you know, the years I was born, decades I was born. So when I first heard of Little Shop of Horrors, I didn't know it was a play at first. You know, growing up as a kid, I just saw the film, and I loved the film so much. And then as I got older, I realized, oh, it's based off a play. Well, he wrote the play. He did all that. And so you learn his journey, how he was a player. Like, he wanted to be a writer, he wanted to be in the arts, he wanted to be in theater. And him and his business partners and past partners created like their own theater, because he did not want Little Shop of Horrors in like Broadway. Of course, we all know it ends up in Broadway eventually, but he didn't want it at Broadway at first, and so he had his own little theater. And I think like a critic was like, you know, as soon as you left this wonderful play, you're on Skid Row or something like that. It was crazy. But you know, it showed his legacy, and it documented, you know, using audio from his own interviews and stories and phone call conversations that he's had. They kind of wove that into this documentary along with behind the scenes footage. And they talked to all the people who are still alive today, like Jodie Benson, Paige O'Hara, and other people who worked with him while he was alive. They have audio of them talking about him and his legacy and working with him and what it was like collaborating with him. And it was just a lot of things. Like, there were songs, there were songs that he fought for, that he almost got fired for. Like, I don't want to give it all away, but there's a song in The Little Mermaid that the studio was like, if he doesn't finish this song and turn it in, we about to fire him, because he was such a perfectionist. He wanted to be perfect and just right, and it turned out well for all of them involved, even though people thought he was crazy. And it was like, yo, we might have to kick him off this project because he's taking forever. And also there were songs there were songs that he had a lot of doubt in, that he thought that the studios was going to hate and send back and say, no, we don't want it. And it ended up making the cut. And now we're all, many years later, singing it to this day. You go on a theme parks and you're hearing it. All these live action remakes, and they're definitely putting those songs in. So it's funny how creatives can be such perfectionists and they doubt their own work, and then it end up being like the best piece of art in their resume. So I thought that was funny. Of course, it tackled and it touched on, you know, he was a gay man. He was a gay man, openly gay man, and he was living and working in the AIDS era. And of course, that is how he passed away. And they did not shy from that. They talked about it heavily, especially toward the end of documentary, because they were talking about the end of his life and the fact that this man was sick. And he hid it from Disney. He hid it from everybody except his immediate family. He hid it from everybody for years. Like, he's working on The Little Mermaid and working on Aladdin and writing songs for Beauty and the Beast and haven't told anyone that he was sick because he was afraid. And you know, the stigma of AIDS and gay people, you know, the discriminatory, he thought Disney was going to fire him, so he kept that a secret. So he's getting there sick and, you know, forcing himself to work even though it's killing him, physically and literally, you know, emotionally killing him, to travel from New York, because he's from New York, travel from New York to California to help make these legendary films. And eventually he did end up telling them, and they kept him on. They didn't fire him. They kept him working because he was that good. He was that amazing. And they said, hey, so by the time they finished Beauty, I believe it was Beauty and the Beast. By the time they did Beauty and the Beast, he was recording from the hospital bed. He was recording in his home. He was recording and just sending it to California because he just couldn't do it. His body was getting weak. And you know, it was very deep, but I'm glad that they didn't shy away from those conversations in this documentary. They let you know the real deal, like, because it's part of his story. It's part of his legacy. But he really was an amazing songwriter, an amazing creator, and he will forever be a Disney legend. He will forever be a gay icon. Like, this man wrote music that spans generations. And so I really love this documentary, Howard. If you have Disney Plus, you should definitely check it out. Watch it. You'll learn a lot of new stuff if you haven't known already about this man and his career. But that's all I gotta say. I would give it a 9.5 out of 10. Yeah, a great documentary. It has some slow spots in it, but I enjoyed it. I loved it. But I could see how certain parts of it, you know, somebody might get bored. But if you keep on watching it, it gets better over time. But it was great. And so, yeah, go check out Howard on Disney Plus. And that is it for today's video. I am Prince Elias, and I will see y'all later.